So
there it is.
There it is. All right, so I'm here to show you a little bit of my plan for my classroom and how things are going to be set up. I asked Holly if she would help too, since, like I said before, I know I don't know how everyone's planning on setting up their classrooms, so I want to give other ideas or other opinions, or just have other people available to answer any questions. Holly's really excellent, and so she's definitely around to answer any questions or give you guys any help if you need it and you don't want to talk to me or I'm busy or whatever, or you just prefer talking to Holly. It's fine. So I am going to start by just showing you sort of physically how my room is going to be set up, I think, and then we'll jump into talking about tech stuff, and then we'll answer any questions that you have. So we'll again start with physical space. So my room is, I'm at the front of here's my whiteboard. My room is going to be set up like this. And my whiteboard is sharing the exact same screen that you're seeing, because my desktop over here, a little room tour, my desktop over there is sharing the screen. So I've joined the Google Meet from my desktop computer, and my desktop computer has no, webcam or audio, but my desktop computer can share the screen. So the screen is being shared. So anything that I do on my desktop computer, the students in my class will be able to see through my smartboard, and anybody who's home through that concurrent model will also be able to see what's going on the screen. So the plan is share the Google Meet from the Chromebook or from the computer, put that up on the screen so the kids can see it in the class. And then I've also joined the Google Meet, obviously, I'm using my personal laptop, a Chromebook, whatever would also work. So the Google Meet is also joined from the laptop where you're getting the audio and the visual. My laptop is on my riser desk thingamajigger. And I think I might sort of stack it a bit onto a book or something so it's a bit taller, so that the kids can see as I move things around a little bit better. And then my plan is to keep my rising thingamajigger.
Podium, Molly, podium.
Podium. Thank you for words that did not come to me. My plan is to keep the podium at the top of the room, at the front of the room, from where I'm going to be teaching. So if I choose to write on the board or anything, I can show my screen through the Google Meets. I can just, show from the camera. And if I choose to, they can see me, they can hear me, and the kids in the room can hear me. And hopefully since it's movable, the podium, I can move it around with me as I move, show the screen to the kids' classmates if they need to see each other. And that's sort of my general plan. Any questions about physical classroom space setup, or concerns or issues or things that you think you might want or need?
Oh. Go for it, Bob.
Okay, I just have a question about your background there. Your little template that you're using, this is agenda. Where did you get that?
I made it.
You made it?
Yes. Do you want it? Because I have it, and then I have it in several colors.
Oh, it's kind of nice. It's kind of a nice little opening instead of just standing there looking at people when they log in. That's it.
Yeah.
It's kind of cool. Okay.
Yeah. So.
Yeah.
Additionally, sorry, let me get it. Additionally, I have a wireless mouse that is circa 2006 that I bought a long time ago, that I have synced to my desktop computer so that I can be here at my podium and using my wireless mouse to manipulate what's going on up on the board.
Mm-hmm.
So you have the mouse so that you can sort of see what's going on. Let me switch over to the right tab. Okay. So, just like you would normally on your smart board, you can do whatever you want, tap, touch, write, whatever. And then the wireless mouse is just there for me to be able to like sort of move more. So I make these agenda slides for my class every day. I know that other teachers have posted their agenda to Google Classroom every day. It's fully your call. I just like the agenda slides because I like how they look. But I start the class with an attendance question. They're different every day. And it's just a way to sort of get the class talking to each other via the chat. That's what I've been doing when we're virtual, and I'm going to keep doing that. So I'm going to keep with my agenda. The in-person kids, when they come in, will answer the attendance question. I'm going to use Mentimeter. That's the platform that I use for polling kids, but you could just have them talk to each other. So the kids online will answer the attendance question, and the kids in the classroom will answer the attendance question. And that's just, like I said, a way to sort of like get the class warmed up and talking to each other. That's not an academic question. I did ask some academic questions that worked the last week. So it was like, what's irony or whatever we were studying. And then I keep the reminders and the learning target for the day and then the agenda. So they're all pretty simple, but I like having them, and I have them for all the days and different backgrounds because, why not? So I have a huge document of, I made one template and then changed the background a bunch. So I'll share that with you if you want it, and then you can add in whatever you want to it. Any other questions about physical space? Okay. So in regards to technology tools, the plan is to, like I said, use these agenda slides. They'll be up on the screen when the in-person kids come in, and they'll also be sharing on the screen for the kids at home, so that we'll get started that way. And then I'm going to try to do my best, and I know this is going to be where I make most of my mistakes. I'm going to do my best to sort of manage the, make sure that everything is up on the screen that's home to the kids. So I'm going to try my best to make sure that I'm using only online tools on my screen to make it easier for the kids to use. So what I mean by that is everything's going to be in Google Slides for me. You could use PowerPoint if you're still using PowerPoint. I'm going to make sure that I'm using, when I'm using the Smartboard software to write, when I annotate poetry or whatever, I'm going to make sure that it's sharing to the screen. So it's just, everything's going to be done on the screen. I'm not going to be writing with a marker is what I'm sort of trying to get at. And then there are tons of different tech tools that are out there. We talked a little bit before about Pear Deck. Krista, I know, has really loved using Pear Deck, and I know a couple of others have as well. And I'm going to double down on using Pear Deck so that my Google Slides are in the class, that we're going to go over them in class, but then the kids will also be able to see the, like answer questions. So as we're reading, we're answering questions, and that's my plan to keep engaging the kids online and in person as best I can. Foster asked if there's a whiteboard feature for Google Classroom. I've been using Jamboard and I really like it, but I'm not going to sit around and pretend I'm a math teacher. So I'm not going to say that it will do everything that you need, but I love Jamboard. Holly said that she's using it. I like it too. I loved it.
Yeah. I'll just step in here and say about Pear Deck. I know that the district bought it for us this year, and to be honest with you, that was one of those tools that I had not used. I used it for the first time a couple of weeks ago. It's awesome. If there were to be one tool that you would reach out and try that you've never tried before, my money would be on Pear Deck, just the interactivity that it puts together with the kids. It just definitely worth your time.
It's
and
not
easy.
hard. Yeah, and a lot of the not platforms, but like there are a lot of templates that you can auto add in that you don't really have to fuss around with, and thought that was really easy. Krista has her hand up. Sorry, go ahead, Krista.
Especially, I just want to add, especially if you already have Google slideshows. So if you're planning on teaching your kids with Google Slides that you would use in the classroom anyway, it takes no time to go to the add-on feature at the top of your Google slideshow and add a Pear Deck. And the nice thing, what I've found valuable about it is that's what I did when we went virtual with all of my Google Meets. I just posted the Pear Deck link to Google Classroom and then did a slideshow with the kids, and they had to do it at my pace because I chose instructor paced. But yeah, it holds them accountable for answering questions as you're going. So you know that they're not, playing video games. They're actually, or at least they're stopping their video game long enough to answer the question and then continuing on. But what's also been really nice about that is I've had kids that, I'm sure none of you had this, but they just didn't come to my Google Meets.
Yeah.
So I could make it student paced. And then for the kids that need to make up points, I emailed them out the link for the student paced feature so that they could do it on their own time and still get credit for doing it. So I'll stop talking. Molly knows that I use it all the time. And if you guys have any questions, let me know, because it's super easy to use. And I like how you can hold the kids accountable and keep it interactive.
Mm-hmm.
Thanks, Krista. And I want to just sort of double down on her argument about how she made a choice of doing student paced versus instructor paced. One of the things that that I like about Pear Deck is that you have that choice, and there are some other tools that do similar things. But I really just want to emphasize that, like, I am not an expert by any stretch of the imagination. I've not done this teaching model before, so I feel like kind of disingenuous standing here talking to you guys. But I want you to know that, like, so much of what you do from this semester and whatnot is going to be very much your choice. So you have to sort of think about the problems that you're having, or the sticky spots that you're experiencing or think you might experience, and then, let Dan, me, Holly, Krista, whoever you talk to us about what those sticking spots are, and then we can give you some choices, right? Everything's going to be about choice, and what works for you is not going to be the same thing that works for everybody. And so Pear Deck is a great choice. I really love it. I think it's going to be helpful for a lot of you. But there are lots of other choices that you could use. You're not going to be wrong because you don't use one tool or another. I just want to really emphasize that. Like, no one's going to sit around and say, like, no, you have to use Jamboard or whatever.
No, I agree with that completely. I am one, and I think Molly asked me to help out and answer questions because I do use tech quite a lot in my classes, but my theory on tech is a lot like Molly just said. I use it to fix a problem that I'm having. So I tried Pear Deck when we were virtual because there was a problem I was having. I'd never done it in the live classroom. Same with Jamboard. I learned Jamboard this year because I always used to have my kids put answers on the board, but of course I couldn't get them up out of their seats. I couldn't let them share the same marker. So I use tech to solve a problem. If you have a problem, come to us and we'll do our best to brainstorm ways to find a way through.
Right, exactly. So that's all. I know that sounds like not enough, sorry, but that's all I have for, like, what my plan was to talk about. I really just wanted to give you tons of time to ask questions. Thanks to Andreas and some other of the teachers too who have been putting things in the chat. Andreas just posted a few Google Meet posts information pieces. And then there's some other information, other teachers who've used Jamboard. Marnie says she has a pen. Sarah says she has a pen. And then Andreas added that Dan's going to do a Jamboard session next Wednesday. So if you want some more information specifically about Jamboard, Dan will help you guys with that next week. And then if you need something immediate, let us know. Sherry, sorry, you had a hand up. I cut you off.
Oh yeah, I have a concern about testing. So, like, if you're going to test students that are in the class and then virtual, like, are you just going to have it all on the computer then?
Yeah. So
I was worried about cheating because, like, I can watch students here.
Mm-hmm.
You know what I mean?
Yeah.
But at home, like, somebody only missed one question on one of my AP Psych exams, and that's not normal.
They studied really hard.
Carrie, can I share something about your AP Psych exams?
Yes.
I will say I was monitoring the securely, which is that web filter that we use for the kids, there was quite a lot of copying and pasting. Like literally, like in what year did whatever take? I'm like, these are test questions. Someone is taking a psych test right now, so that's something to think about. So yes, that would be a concern, right? Because it's going to be hard to monitor them. But I would say, something to think about. You could almost do like a sort of a proctored exam where they have to be on camera as they're taking the exam, right? So that might help a little bit so that it's not so much, flipping back and forth. But that'll be a concern.
I gave a quiz, which is not an exam, and I told them it was open notes, so we're not at all in the same boat. But in order for me, the quiz was, I did it in Google, a Google form, not locked, because they don't all have their own. The school Chromebook, some of them have their own Chromebook. Yeah. And so what I did with the locked quiz, or what I did was, in order for me to give you the exam through Google Classroom, you had to have your camera on. So you must have your camera on in order to get the quiz. So that helped because some kids were sitting there going like, I didn't get the quiz. Like, yeah, your camera's still not on. You need to have, this is the one time I'm really going to push that issue. You need to have your camera on to get the quiz. Now, that's not going to solve all of the ills, right? Because they could still copy and paste while their camera's on. I have to say this with a grain of salt, knowing that I really hate Edulastic. However, there are no other, we don't have any other testing programs right now that are locked that way. So a locked Google form or a locked Edulastic platform, if they have a school device, is going to be really handy for those testing situations. If you are in a situation where you're giving your kids plenty of time, notice, to when their test is, right? So they have a test on January 24th. I don't even know if that's a weekday. They could, if they're virtual, come to school and get a school issued Chromebook. I don't see why you couldn't say they need to have a school issued Chromebook. At this juncture, they need it.
I actually did that. I did. And I was thinking, okay, so if we're in person and we have virtual students too, would it be possible to make virtual students come in just for the test?
I don't see why that would be a problem. I think if you could talk it through with Brett and Julie and maybe talking about finding a conference room, and if they could use the conference room in guidance, that would be a thing that you would have to sort out. But I don't see why you wouldn't be able to say, virtual kids, your testing window is, on a Wednesday instead. Right, and that's on Wednesday afternoon to take the test. Especially for AP, virtual AP kids, I think that you really have to. Yes.
Yeah.
Okay.
Sherry, one thing I did, and it doesn't solve the problem, but when we went virtual, I had a few kids who still had to make up quizzes and whatnot, and I used the office hours and whatnot and reached out to them, so we were one-on-one. They did thankfully have the school-issued Chromebook, so I was able to give them the locked form. What I didn't realize the first time around is when they're taking a locked form and they're on a Google Meet, it's going to throw them off of Meet, which makes sense.
Yeah.
What I did, and the kids were really awesome about it, I essentially asked them to use their phones to join the Meet. And so they had their phones set up, and I was watching them on their Chromebooks, but it was a short quiz, and it was a one-on-one. I mean, I don't think it's a solution, but it worked in that situation.
Okay. Well, at least they wouldn't be using their phones then.
Well, right. I mean, they weren't using on the camera. Yeah. I could literally see them as they were taking their quiz, but of course, the quiz took 10 minutes. It was not an exam in any way, shape, or form. And all of the kids were open to it. I mean, none of them were complaining about having to use their phones or anything like that. So.
Okay.
Well, one of the things I called some of my kids out on, as I'm watching them, I could see the light reflection on their face as they were sort of going from screen to screen. Hey, that shouldn't be happening, dude. Like, what are you doing?
Another thing I was looking for is, so I have a whole new semester class, and I was just looking for some ideas. In person, I'm way better than digitally, and sarcasm doesn't go over well digitally. I found that out. So I'm just saying, I was looking for some ideas on some, I don't know, I have to introduce myself. So
yeah.
I
want to do a momentary plug again for Pear Deck. So I might wonder if you could take your like your syllabus or your sort of introduction to the class, put that or translate that somehow into a Google slide and sort of embed those questions as you're going over your slide. So it could be like, oh, I'm gonna, here's a question about like, because we'll use psychology for an example. So like, here's your first slide is like your introduction to psychology. And then you could ask a question that's like, type that definition into your own words. Or it could be like, even before you get started, a question like, how confident do you feel about psychology, like what you know about psychology? And then they have those little drag and drop bars. So you can make it really confident, not so confident, somewhere in the middle. So that sort of build a little bit of interaction into your introduction material. And I think, I don't know if this is exactly the problem that you might be having, but if they're interacting, they're talking to you, or you're talking sort of to them.
Right.
Like, oh, somebody's way over here. So you can kind of build a little bit of that interaction, which might smooth over some of that introduction stuff and make it feel a little bit more casual, a little less like lecture-y, and a bit more, like just build a little bit more of that rapport.
Right. Okay. All right. Thanks.
There are other, I'll keep thinking, but that's just one.
Okay.
I want to, again, take a moment to say thank you so much, because Sherry, that's like exactly what we're sort of pointing out. Like there's an issue, you're not really sure how to do it. There are lots of different answers to that issue, but you came and you asked, and that's like great. That's what we're hoping for, I think. So thanks. What other issues, questions, problems, sticky spots, concerns? Oh, sorry, Andreas.
I just would like to throw out a plug. I put it in the chat there, but Dan is planning on weekly Wednesday sessions going forward, starting next Wednesday, based on the feedback that we received from the Google form that went out before break. So he's starting with Jamboard next Wednesday. They'll be Google Meet sessions, and so we'll record them. We would obviously love for you to be part of them because we won't have students on Wednesdays. And I think you'll get the most out of that, being able to ask questions. We should have the schedule. He's working on it today, hopefully tomorrow or by Wednesday this week. You should have a schedule of sort of what all the topics are, what time, et cetera, et cetera. So if you have any feedback, let us know. But I think we got some pretty good understanding of what you guys want. Oh, Dan's here. So Dan's starting Dan, take over.
Yeah, I was just going to say, well, hey, everyone, it's good to see you all. I just wanted to say thank you for like the feedback. We got, 85 replies within a matter of like 2 hours. And so I am working on that. It was like super helpful. So thank you. So we will start with Jamboard because it was pretty unanimous that a lot of people just kind of want to know the functionality of it. And so we'll start with that. There'll be like 30 minutes, and then we're going to kind of go from there just based on what everyone said they wanted a little extra help on, or just kind of to see how things work. So feel free to continue to fill, like if you haven't filled that form out yet, you can definitely still do that. You can always still, email me or, talk to Molly or whatever, and she can relay the message of just anything that you might need additional help with. We'll do our best to figure it out and help y'all out. So thanks again for filling that out. I appreciate it.
Sherry, what's up?
I have one more question. Okay, so like if you have kids in person and then kids virtually, and you're showing your Google presentation, right? And embedded in my Google presentations, I have lots of videos. What's your plan of action? Like, do you just show the video? You have to show the video in class, right?
Yeah, so 2 points there. So the first thing I'm going to consider about videos is the length of the video. So if it's a short video, maybe something that's like, 5 minutes or less, I plan to show that in class live. If it's something that's a little bit longer, I plan to ask my students to pause to stop listening to me, not leave the call, but mute and turn off their camera if they want, and then go watch send them the link to the video in the chat. So I think what I'm going to do is I'm going to say, okay, if it's longer than 5 minutes, if it's a short, quick little thing, then whatever. But if it's a longer video, I'm going to paste the link into the chat or paste it into Google Classroom or whatever, and have the kids mute themselves, watch the video, come back when the video is over. And because it's a video, that's all at the same time, you know, they should all be returning to the call within the same minute of each other. Do you know what I mean?
Right.
So like quick, 5 minutes, short. I'm not worried about like streaming and buffering and all that stuff. Then I'm just going to show it over the Meet. But if it's longer, I'm going to pause and have them, and I'm going to have them mute themselves, watch it on their own device in a separate tab, and then come back. Kyle said to queue it up in a new tab. I agree. So I think like if it's in my screen,
Yeah.
like, I might open it up in a new tab just so you don't have to worry about
Okay.
like anything fussy happening. Because sometimes when you're showing a video through a Google slide, there's a little bit of a slight lag to getting it started. So
Okay.
I think I'm going to queue it up into it. It'll have it already set up in a new tab. And then you can't see, but so I'm going to move my camera. But on the screen that I'm sharing, it says sharing this screen, this tab to Meet. I can switch to another tab. Oops,
Right.
that's tomorrow. I can switch to another tab and it will, it'll go to the other tab. Sorry, just zoom in through. Does that make sense? I don't know if that was.
Yeah, yeah, I did something like that before. I was just trying to like think about it visually, like with in-person students then as well.
Yeah.
Okay.
In-person kids, if it's a longer video, we'll see it in the classroom. And the
Right.
kids at home will just take a little bit longer to come back to the video, to, you know, turn their mics and cameras back on when they're done having watched the video.
Okay.
This is another moment too for the district also supports Edpuzzle. So Edpuzzle is a program that the video is embedded in Edpuzzle, and then there are questions. You can add questions, or you can add voiceover or voice comments, and so you could embed the video into Edpuzzle and ask questions. So the kids have to answer questions as they're going through the video. And that's good and handy to add some accountability if you think that you need it. One of the nice things about Edpuzzle is last year, maybe a year and a half ago, they rolled out Edpuzzle Live. And so you can watch it, you can watch the video in class. So the video is up on the screen and the kids on their devices only see the questions. So you could have your kids do at home, do Edpuzzle
Regular.
and your kids in person do Edpuzzle Live. And
Okay.
so it's going to be my biggest issue is not the right word. My biggest concern, and I think this is pretty legit, is that I'm going to have a hard time mixing and matching my in-person and online kids. And I think that's going to be like this sort of sucks to suck kind of thing. Like, you know, it's just going to be a growing pain as we get used to sort of manipulating and managing two classrooms at once. But we can do it.
Hey, one more thing. Hey, you guys, remember you can share your screen from your Chromebook.
Yes, you can.
That was very, very helpful for me.
Good. Yeah.
I
And
think that can be very helpful.
yeah, so you can have a lot of things going on at once. You're the host, so you can kind of do quite a bit.
Okay.
Bob, you
thank
have your hand up?
Yes. And this is kind of unique probably to me, so we can talk offline about this if somebody can help me with this, you or Andrea. So, I have this class called TV Film Literacy where you watch full-length movies. And they look like, every time I watch them, they remind me of Maria during her robot. The kids don't complain about it, but it would drive me nuts having to watch a movie online where it's chunky, like I cannot get it to flow. The movies many times are not available offline.
Mm-hmm.
I don't know what to do about that. If we're going to be in class, I'll work with that. That's fine. Okay, I can do that. But if there's anybody virtual, I don't know what they're going to do. Take another class or whatever. Because otherwise, they're just going to watch this robot video for an entire 18 weeks.
I think we can figure something out, Bob. So Dan and I will stop by and meet with you maybe today or tomorrow, and I have some ideas that we could probably get. So,
because I have to show them on a DVD. I mean, that's where my movies are.
Bob, if you're showing a movie in your class, you can just use a Google Meet and put the screen so that they're watching your screen in the classroom, and you shouldn't get any of that distortion.
Okay.
We tried that. Thomas and I tried that, and the sound was still kind of funky. It is doable though. So Andreas, can me and Mr. Thomas be included in that meeting because we both show full-length movies?
Yeah, let's do it. Let's come up with some good solutions there.
Okay, great.
Because I know what you're talking about. It's not ideal to have I mean, Mr. Kidd is right. For sure, that'd be easy. Just put a Chromebook up and have it stream, but it's not going to be ideal necessarily. But let's figure. I have some ideas. We'll see if we can figure some stuff out.
Thank you.
Yep.
Dan, what's up? Dan, did you still have your hand raised?
Yeah, sorry. I raised my hand during the Edpuzzle plug real quick. But I just want to say with Edpuzzle, kind of going backtrack, it does communicate with Google. So if you have all your students in Google Classroom, you just literally press one import button and it will import into Edpuzzle by class. So you don't have to go in and like manually add your students in. It will say, do you want to add language arts period 1, language arts period 2? So you just check the boxes. The other thing that is probably my absolute favorite feature of Edpuzzle is actually a feature of Greencastify. So if you are doing any type of screencast, so whether you're recording your screen as a quick tutorial or you're recording your lessons, like instead of recording through Google Meet, you choose to do it through Screencastify. When you upload that Screencastify video, rather than saving it, like when the video's done, you have exporting options. So you can export it to your drive, you can export it as a link, but you can also export directly to Edpuzzle. So when your video's done, it opens up in Edpuzzle and you can then add just little formative questions in to that video you just recorded. So I think they rolled that out like a year ago or 2 years ago. But importing your students is super simple. You just literally add a class and then it gives you the option to manually add students or import via Google Classroom. And then that feature of just hooking it right to Screencastify. So if you're doing like a 5-minute warm up or something and you want to add those questions in, you could do it that way as well. That's it.
Thanks. Yeah, and Edpuzzle is super handy. So I know it's sometimes scary to learn a new tool. I think if you're going to learn a new tool this year, sorry that it's so crazy, but some of your best bets are going to be Pear Deck, Edpuzzle, and Jamboard. Personally, as you're like, these are the things we're going to learn. Dan, Maria asked, is Edpuzzle on the list of trainings for the Wednesdays?
Yeah, it is. So I think I'm going to talk to Andres about this right now. So I'm going to let you all in on what I'm going to talk to him about in like 2 seconds. But I think I would like to do like a 30-minute Google, because we had, all the Google things. So Jamboard, Google Meet, and then just do an additional in the afternoon of some type of tool like Edpuzzle, Pear Deck, whatever it might be. And some of those are going to go together. Like some of them are going to be almost the same session. But yeah, we will definitely go over Edpuzzle. I actually have some videos already created too I can share in the meantime, but we can definitely do that. So
I'd also add too that like if there's something that you want to learn immediately, right? You're like, I need to learn Pear Deck for Tuesday. The websites themselves, Pear Deck, Edpuzzle, they have a wealth of tutorials on their websites. So if there's something that you want to learn right away, I don't want to say like Dan's not free, but like Dan's doing, he's not going to be like, it's not a drop of a hat, Dan shows up at your room kind of thing. So, Pear Deck, Edpuzzle, those tutorials on their websites are so valuable. They step by step. You can run them at your own pace.
And they both have their own YouTube channels, and all their videos they keep with under like 2 minutes. They're real quick. So like if you go on the Edpuzzle YouTube channel, just type in Edpuzzle and you click on the channel rather than the individual video, there's a running list of 2-minute tutorials of specifics. So the first one would be like, just creating an account and then setting up your classes. And then, they're super simple. So you can kind of go at your own pace. I should say the way they present them is super simple. They do kind of one task at a time. So there's not that level of overwhelming. And Pear Deck also has a really, really good YouTube channel. Same thing. A lot of their content is, because a lot of the people that work for Pear Deck are actually teachers. They are like Pear Deck certified teachers or whatever. So they kind of put the videos together based on what they know is actually needed in the classroom. So their websites, like Molly said, have great tutorials, and it's probably just going to bump you to their YouTube channel as well that has tons of additional videos. So,
what other questions can we answer for you? What other sticking spots do you anticipate? What other moments of like anxiety are you feeling that we can sort? We can't help it all, but we can we can maybe make some things a little easier. Is there anything else that you wanted to talk about? Okay, one thing I've learned from being virtual is that we have to wait really long for wait time. So I'm gonna do this wait time thing for a little bit as somebody is, if you're one of the person calling me right now, I'm not answering. We'll be here, right? Holly's here, I'm here, Dan's around, Andreas, thanks for coming on too. You know, like where our goal is to be as helpful to you as possible, to give you as many resources as we can. And we know that this is going to be a challenge. I think we're all going to be challenged in a unique way this time. So please take comfort in knowing that no one knows what we're doing, and you know, have some patience and grace for yourself as we all sort of jump into this time. That's my motto for myself, is to be patient with myself as I learn how to do all of this business. But
we probably have the best technology support team in the whole county. Molly, Dan, Lori, Courtney, Missy, etc.
We are doing our hardest. So we'll help you as best we can. And we hope that you give yourselves as much grace as you need. And yeah, we're around. So if you need something, let us know, and we'll see you around. Stick around if you have more questions or if there's something you want to talk about. But staff meeting at 11. Woohoo! Get excited. Bye. Thanks for coming. I've learned that I'm the waving teacher. This is the thing that I learned while I was virtual. I was like, bye. I'm like, I never waved bye in class. Who am I? What have I become?
Molly, I do that too. I'm definitely like